Hello, welcome to a Sonic Labs special. We're here with Matt Hines from iZotope, who's here to show us RX4. You may remember Matt last year came and showed us RX3, so
yes.
What's new?
There's a lot of new modules now in RX4. Also some of the existing modules that were in RX4 Advanced are now in the standard version. New features in existing modules, and also kind of new ways that RX plugs in and integrates with whatever audio or video editing program that you use.
So I guess we should probably just roll back, just in case nobody knows what RX
yes.
is and what it does. Let's just have a quick kind of potted quote for that, if you don't mind.
Sure. We call it a complete audio repair solution is one way to describe it. Really any types of audio problems that may crop up. Background noise, hum, buzz, maybe a sudden noise, a cough, or a string squeak, or a plosive in a microphone, distortion, reverb, just any kinds of audio problems that might just creep in as you record. This is the program that's designed to pull those problems, fix them, maybe reduce them, or just make those problems far less invasive. You can kind of get back to being creative and making things actually sound nice instead of just trying to fix something. So I have RX up on my screen here. I'll pull in some audio in just a second. But just to run down some of the modules we have here on the right-hand side. The new modules in RX4 Advanced are the Leveler module, the EQ Match module, Ambience Match module, and also the Loudness module. And so we'll be able to take a look at a few of those in just a moment. And then also, the reason I'm opening the Denoise module is that the dialogue denoiser that we have here is now in both versions. Because
that was previously only available in advance, right?
Yeah, and it's great, dialogue, yes, but also just vocals in general, sort of automatic real-time background noise reduction. For any kinds of background noise, you can use
Or aeroplanes.
Or aeroplanes, like this one that just went by. But that's now in both versions. And then I'm actually going to hop over to Pro Tools just so we can get some audio into RX, because that'll enable me to show you another new plugin that we have. I have here on screen this plugin called RX Connect.
Okay.
And the reason this plugin exists, it is AU and VST as well. So if you're looking at this and thinking, well, I don't use Pro Tools, this plugin's also available to you. Is that really it enables us to just make RX plug into whatever program we're using, so that you don't have to do the sort of exporting of audio to then edit, save, and then re-import into your session. For instance, here I have this one clip from a documentary, and as she's talking, there's actually a lot of lighting buzz that's kind of crept in.
Dive safety briefing.
The pool deck itself is also a functioning, working pool deck.
You can kind of hear that like high buzz that's up there.
It might be harder to hear in the YouTube compression, but I can hear it. I can confirm.
And you'll be able to see this problem in just a second, because it's actually really easy to get it into RX now. We don't need to go, Pro Tools, File, Export. I can just click Send. See, RX immediately pops up, and now we're linked up here. You can see
to Pro Tools session, right?
Yeah, okay. It's linked to Pro Tools. This would, whatever host you're using, it would have the name displayed here. And actually, this gives me a good chance to talk about the spectrogram too. If people aren't familiar, I know
this is a real RX thing, isn't it?
It's
an
is.
iZotope thing, really.
Yeah, it's definitely an iZotope thing. It's a big part of the way RX works, because we have our traditional waveform here, and this is the way that obviously many of us are used to looking at and editing audio. But on the right here, and that's just this little slider down here, we have the spectrogram, and it's just an image of our sound, a graph of our sound. We have our time along the bottom, frequencies from low to high, and then the brighter they are, it means sort of more amplitude, the more volume there is. And also these steady noises are the interference.
So those
the pool deck itself is also
these three right here.
The pool deck itself is also a function.
And so that's really that's what underpins the entire program, because if we can see the audio problems, we can start painting with them.
And fix them.
And fixing with them. We have a whole bunch of different controls down here. Things that you might be used to if you edit, any kind of...
Yeah, it's like Photoshop or something, yeah.
I can't say it, but you can.
So lasso, paintbrush.
Yep, absolutely.
Dropper, that sort of stuff.
So if I select the Magic Wand tool, for instance, I can just pull out her dialogue and just listen to that. Select specific words. With the brush tool, you can adjust the size, the pixel size, paint around certain objects. For this problem up here, I can just select those lines and go to my spectral repair module. This is sort of where we do this visual editing, and even with the default settings, I can just hit process, and you'll see as soon as I click away that those are dialed back into the background. Our image is fixed, and really our audio is too.
The pool deck itself is also a functioning, working pool deck.
It's gone,
yeah,
but you can still hear just the room tone and the natural
exactly
of the sound, right?
Yeah, and so this is spectral repair and these visual editing tools. That's the sort of things that I would use to remove plosives, string squeaks, sudden noises, also a cough, for instance. And this visual display is really, that's what's powerful about RX. But because you can't get that inside, say Pro Tools, for instance, that's why we have this whole connect round trip, because you can see now I've fixed it, and I just hit send back, and I render. And now the problem's actually fixed in the timeline here.
Right.
The pool deck itself is also a functioning, working pool deck.
And so that workflow, for hosts that don't support external sample editors, this is huge. You can just, as soon as you find a problem,
RX Connect, is that advanced only, or is that in both?
That's in both versions, yeah.
Cool.
And people, if you're using Ableton or Logic, RX3 and RX4 you can use as external sample editors anyway.
So it's not such an issue.
Yeah, but for any host out there that doesn't have that functionality, this is just links you right to the timeline.
And obviously we're looking here at a kind of dialogue video session, but this could just as easily be like a lead vocal or a performance that just had the right vibe but had a few issues that you might want to fix, right?
Yeah, in fact, there's one of the other new modules that I can show. Just here is this module EQ Match. Here I have a dialogue example, but it's really designed for any situation out there where you have two different microphone sources, and maybe it's the same person, the same person singing, talking, or the same guitar. Maybe it was recorded at a different time on a different day at a different preamp or what have you. Just whenever the audio sources sound slightly different and you want to try and make them fit together in the mix, EQ Match is this new module which does that.
Right.
I have this one example here. If I hit play, you'll hear his voiceover, which was done in a studio, I think in SM7. It's very close up and rich. And then he's also got this distant shot, which sounds a lot different.
Day, the facility manager who has arranged our visit.
Hey, Dan.
Good morning, Jonathan. Welcome to the NBL.
Thank you. I can't wait to see.
It's a lot.
So that sounds like it's on-camera audio.
It
is.
is.
Try and throw in there.
Yeah.
That seems challenging.
Yeah.
Even to my ears.
Well, let's show you how we'd fix that. So we can send it this nice sounding clip. We actually send as a reference.
Right.
We can open in RX, and then this clip is the one we want to fix. So we'll send this for repair, and RX will pop up. And now you can actually see, since we're in this spectrogram.
You've got two tabs. You've got a reference and a right.
They look a lot different. There's a lot of low frequencies here, not so many low frequencies here, but there is a lot of noise, a lot of low noise and so on. So this module here, EQ Match, you can see, even if I zoom in, there's two controls.
Yep.
Very simple to use. So I would just learn the sound of my good audio, and you see it produces this sort of frequency spectrum.
Yep.
EQ profile, and then I can actually apply this to my audio here. I have control over how much, by default it's set to 100%, but maybe if you just want a little bit of enhancement, a little bit of matching, you can dial it back. And if I just hit process, you can see the spectrogram actually changes quite dramatically. And now if I were to hit play, this was his original dialogue.
Hey, Dan.
Good morning, Jonathan. Welcome to the NBL.
Hey, Dan.
It sounds a lot warmer, a lot richer, and that's exactly the same way I would use it to match microphones on two different instrumental takes, for instance.
And you might actually also, take some of that noise out and just kind of bring it a bit closer. There are other processes you could apply additionally to
Absolutely.
Bring it even closer.
I mean, in fact, one of the things I would do that is a new feature actually in RX is if I bring back my waveform, you can see obviously his section here is a lot quieter than the dialogue that's happening here.
Hey, Dan.
Good morning, Jonathan. Welcome to the NBL.
And that's obviously a very isolated, close-up problem, but you could also have volume differences that happen over time. So one of the things we've added here is just the idea of non-destructive clip gain, which you might use.
It's like an automation lane in your DAW almost.
It is.
Volume, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And this is something you could do, in Pro Tools or in Logic and so on. You can draw in the volume adjustments. We figured that if you're editing or fixing audio in RX4, there might be times you'd want to do that here. This is also a really great way to reduce the impact of plosives.
Yeah.
And I can draw this in and make overall adjustments. smooth my audio out just that little bit more. And then I can, if I wanted, I have the dialogue denoiser here. I could process here. I also have it in my Pro Tools session if I want to automate it on and off. Or and so both the clip gain and the dialogue denoiser are in both versions. So here we are. I hit render. You can see here my waveform now. If I go back, and,
yeah, it's
much different.
It's a very different thing, isn't it?
I pull up my dialogue denoiser, and well, let's have a listen.
Today, the facility manager who has arranged our visit.
Hey, Dan.
Morning, Jonathan. Welcome to the NBL.
Thank you. I can't wait to see this place.
This is in both versions, but we also have the spectral denoiser in both versions. Now, this is the denoiser I would use if I'm denoising audio, maybe removing background noise from music. Maybe it's a guitar recording, a single coil pickup. There's a lot of hum in that. Anything that's there's a lot more going on, there's more heavy lifting required. This is where the spectral denoiser comes into play.
So these processes are mainly what we call destructive, or that require be rendering rather than running in real time. The dialogue denoiser is obviously designed to run in real time. Would the spectral aspect work in real time, or is that again more of a offline?
Yeah, that's definitely offline. The spectral denoiser too, you can load it as a plugin. It will show up, and only the first algorithm. You'll see there's actually 4 algorithms here: A, B, C, and D. So the fastest one will run in real time.
Okay.
And actually, that gives me a little chance to show off one of the other new features. So clip gain, as I mentioned, is in both versions, but we also have this module called Leveler. Which is RX4 advanced only, but it's designed to do that clip gaining, that volume automation automatically, automatic automation. Yeah.
Automatic automation, right.
Here, for instance, I could select my entire voiceover track, which obviously is, it's cut up into lots of different regions, some of which are much louder than others, depending on, when they were recorded, but also his general excitement as he got further through the edit.
He's a very animated VO artist, isn't he? So.
He is. You gotta give him credit for that. So this is a sort of a workflow where here, yes, I'm doing this with dialogue. But
so it's rendering to a new piece of audio, then importing the audio in. So then, right. Okay,
it's pulling it right in. You're probably familiar, the fact that if you just start compressing a lot of audio,
you just bring the noise floor
the noise floor comes
other
up.
Artifacts.
You squash the transient peaks, and suddenly that that keyboard, that piano track or that drum track has no life.
Yeah.
The voice has no life. So that's why sometimes it's nice to smooth the volume out just a little bit before you then start squashing the peaks.
Right.
And so that's what this module here is designed to do. You can see it's actually going through, and it's told me, up here I should zoom in, it's told me the total RMS level, the average volume level of this audio track, which is about 12 minutes long. I could select a preset. There's a lot of presets actually in RX. We often tell people default is the way to go almost every single time. I'm setting a target RMS volume, a target average volume level. And you'll see if I hit set clip gain, as the level is running through here, you can just kind of explain what it's doing. It's going through the entire piece of audio and just saying, how do I adjust this right here in this moment to make it fit overall the average volume level?
Okay.
So if something's getting louder and louder, it will just tame it. Maybe the end of a word, particularly if a singer is tailing off at the end of a word or a syllable is getting lost.
Perhaps an older singer is running out of energy.
It's been known to happen. It has been known to happen.
Oh, wow, so it's drawn in a lot of automation.
It has, yes. You can see here, I can make overall adjustments as well still, but if we dial in onto specific words and actually, let me zoom out of the spectrogram, you can see in some cases it doesn't need to do so much, but then this end of this word here was getting a little lost, so it's given it a bit of volume adjustment there. And you can go in and make tweaks as you wish.
Right.
But it saved me a whole bunch of time because I can now send this back to Pro Tools or Logic, what have you. It's going to pop up. I hit render. And actually, I now have a brand new audio file.
And it's consolidated as well, right?
And I still have, in this case, I have Alloy 2 up. I still have my EQ. I still have my compressor. But you'll see now if I hit play, it has to work a lot less hard.
Our first glimpse of the NBL. This thing is huge. A swimming...
So it's just a little bit of...
Yeah, it's barely catching it. And I can now spend a whole lot more time being creative and adjusting my nice sounding tools because I've fixed the general problem that was there before.
I was very interested in the Ambience Match as well, because that's something that I think is going to be of use to a lot of people across music and post.
Absolutely. It's a new module. It is RX4 advanced only, but it can do some really, really great stuff. And really it's designed for, ironically, putting noise back into an audio recording when it's been lost. You know, the example I have here, actually, I can just play you. This is actually quite common in video and dialogue editing, where they start shifting audio around and cutting a scene, and you get left with all these gaps.
Right.
You know, such as, in this case...
Hi, I'm Jonathan Bird, and welcome to my world.
Kind of see across
there's that one where it just goes completely away.
Because they've chopped the audio and they've moved it left and right, and you know, there's actually two different shots that have been combined, and well, you know, guess what? The sound of the waves we actually do want in there, because he is outside on a big cliff, you know, in this case.
Right.
It could also just be a recording you've done in the studio. I mean, maybe you're recording on tape or something and you're trying to smooth over an edit. There is often times that the ambient noise should be there.
Yeah.
You know, there's no such thing as perfect silence in most mixes. And also, this is particularly noticeable with vocals, if you've ever comped vocals. And you can sometimes hear when they come in and out or where the edit point is, because it sounds like a gate, you know, it's just been chopped off. And so to fix that, I could actually just select this whole edit region. Could select any piece of audio, any length, and you can actually see, if I just go over to my spectrogram view, you know, well, here is digital silence, there's nothing there, and this is where the edit's been cut.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Bird, and welcome to my world.
So if I load up the Ambience Match module, you can see it's actually just as simple as the EQ module. There's really two controls that affect the overall sound. If I click Learn, it actually automatically identifies really whatever the steady noise is.
But yes, I see.
Yeah,
right.
The steady state noise, the same noise that you have, you know, here in all these gaps. That's the ambient noise of the scene.
Just from those tiny clips, that's impressive.
Yeah, it really doesn't need a whole lot at all. And if I zoom out and I hit Process, you can see it's actually filled the gaps, in this case with the sound of the waves.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Bird, and welcome to my world.
So it's just sort of generally much, much smoother. And you can, as you're creating these different ambiences, listen to just what it is that you're creating. And this trim control is purely just a volume adjustment. Here I'm adding 5 dB volume boost only to the audio in the gaps.
Of the clip.
Yeah,
right,
so
okay,
otherwise you're just adding noise on top of noise.
Right.
And if you double it, it's going to cut in and out, and that'll sound weird. So in this case, you know, I can send it back to Pro Tools, I can hit render, and actually now I can do some nice cross-fading, or fading in and out, and I've sort of smoothed out that entire edit.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Bird, and welcome to my world.
Right.
One of the things that actually both me and a few other people at iZotope have been finding really fun is, I mean, yes, this is really the problem it was designed to fix, but there are other ways that you could use it if you wanted. You know, you can create now ambiences from anything. I mean, what's to stop you loading in any piece of audio and you just hit Learn? You end up with some sort of an ambience, which you actually could start maybe using as a pad or
there's like that. It's like frozen reverb, isn't it? Where if you get sound,
that's
you
effectively
can build
how
a
I've
sort of
been
tone.
using it. Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
So there's definitely a lot in there. I mean, there's one more thing I think would be kind of fun to show, just because it's always useful, is the declip module.
Right.
You remember we sort of looked at that last year a little bit. Just the idea that you can remove, or at least reduce, clipping and waveform truncation. I mean, we have one example here.
And let's go ahead and swim EV1 over to Z1 to check out EV2's APFR ingressing.
Right.
Visually speaking, if we actually go back to the traditional waveform view, you can see it there.
It's just the flattening off of its peaks, yeah.
And I would just hit, select the whole audio, hit Suggest, and you see these white lines on this graph. Mm-hmm. That's actually where the clipping is occurring. You know, see if I can adjust my threshold here. You can see here, that's really the point of where the clipping is occurring.
Right.
But if I didn't have the time, or if I wasn't exactly sure, I can hit Suggest and it'll actually place it for me I hit process, and you can see it's now redrawn that audio there. And if I zoom all the way out, in this piece of audio, you can see it's actually now made the clipping go away.
And let's go ahead and swim EV1 over to...
Now, she still sounds a little bit thin. Well,
yes, it sounds like she's in a diving helmet, possibly.
Which, in fact, that she is. But you remember earlier, we actually created this EQ match profile.
Oh, right.
So one of the things I tell people is you can actually start adding EQ match profiles for really anything. You could say, well, this was the sound of this microphone on this instrument at this time, and you can save them as presets. And this was from that voiceover. We used it earlier. Well, why don't we just use it here again?
And let's go ahead and swim EV1 over to Z1 to...
Now she sounds a lot warmer, and there's still a couple more problems. And again, everything we've talked about makes it easy to fix. There was that bit where there was
a little bit of a pop.
Because I'd added EQ on top of it, so it was clipping again. You know, there's that high-end hum. You can see it in the spectrogram there.
Those lines.
We know how to treat that.
There's one here as well, isn't there? And then across the middle, which is more broadband, I guess.
There is. I would actually probably use the denoiser for that. You know, and we can, paint around these. If I was just to show those plosives, for instance. Again, I'm selecting audio all over the spectrogram, but spectral repair is going to go through and fix those. In this case, if I wanted to just select my entire vocal recording, all of these plosives, go through and maybe actually reduce the sound of those just a little bit more.
Right.
And then, well, there's background noise, so we have the dialogue denoiser.
And let's go ahead and swim EV1 over to Z1 to check out EV.
Wow.
You know, overall, if I just go back to what we had before, which was...
And let's go ahead and swim EV1 over
it's
to...
like Darth Vader's young daughter, perhaps. Yeah.
There you go. And you know, it's the point here is just that there's a whole bunch of different tools in here that can fix really all of those different types of audio problems that you come up against. And once you're happy with the result, send it back, and with RX Connect, you can just kind of render and stay in whatever host you're working with. We also encourage people to check it out. There's a free demo. So
yes, iZotope.com/RX.
That's,
right?
Yep, absolutely. That's the one. You download that. It's actually a 10-day free trial. You know, you could download the standard version or the advanced version, check out the features, you know, see what works for you. And since we're here, we can also plug the fact that we have a lot of free guides too. And you know, if you go iZotope.com/guides, you'll find, for instance, a PDF on audio repair. So if you have a problem with distortion or background noise, you can actually say, there's a chapter, and you go and it will teach you how do these tools work, how to use them. There's some examples you can try out.
Well, thank you very much, Matt. That was awesome. I guess it only remains to say, you know, we've got the, it's available now, presumably.
It is, absolutely, yeah.
And we have pricing?
Sure, yeah. So the standard version of RX is £215. The advanced version is $729. You can also, you know, buy standard and just pay the difference and upgrade to the advanced version later if you so wish. And also, you know, if you're an existing customer on RX1, 2, or 3 and you wanted to download the demo, it won't replace your old version. It'll run alongside. And then if you decide that you like it and you want to use it, there's also upgrade pricing that you can get. You can check into your iZotope account at iZotope.com, or also if you're in the UK, timespace.com. Is where you'd probably want to go to check it out.
Okay, so I want to say thank you very much to Matt for coming. That was a fantastic presentation. Now we know exactly what RX4 can do. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you.